A sudden deluge of torrential rain swept through La Paz, the capital of Baja California Sur, on Thursday afternoon, unleashing flash floods that inundated streets, disrupted traffic, and left residents and tourists scrambling for safety. The downpour, which began around midday and intensified throughout the afternoon, overwhelmed the city's drainage systems and caused arroyos, normally dry stream beds, to surge with powerful currents. By 5 p.m. local time, authorities had activated the Cruz Seguro emergency protocol, urging the public to avoid flooded zones and refrain from attempting to cross fast-moving water. The city's historic center and coastal boardwalk, known as the Malecon, were among the worst-hit areas. Water cascaded from the elevated neighborhoods into the heart of the city, turning major avenues into rivers and sweeping debris toward the sea. Malena Quiroga Romero, the mayor of La Paz, confirmed that vehicular traffic had been suspended in several districts due to the dangerous conditions. "We are asking everyone to stay indoors and avoid unnecessary travel," she said in a public statement. "The arroyos are running high and the risk of accidents is significant. Please wait for transit authorities to clear the roads before venturing out." As the rain intensified, tourists, shopkeepers, and residents in the downtown area sought refuge inside buildings, cafes, and hotels. Videos shared on social media captured dramatic scenes of water rushing through the streets, lifting parked cars and flooding storefronts. In one clip, a vehicle was seen drifting sideways as the current carried it down a submerged avenue. "I've never seen anything like this," said Ana Rodriguez, a local vendor whose souvenir shop near the Malecon was inundated. "The water came so fast. We barely had time to move our merchandise to higher shelves." Visitors to the city, many of whom had arrived for the weekend, found themselves stranded as access roads became impassable. Some were forced to cancel excursions to nearby beaches and nature reserves, while others waited out the storm in hotel lobbies and restaurants. Beyond the city center, the storm's impact extended to rural and mountainous regions of the municipality. Reports from the Sierra de la Laguna and surrounding communities indicated significant runoff and localized flooding. Dirt roads became muddy torrents, isolating some villages and prompting emergency crews to deploy rescue vehicles. "We're monitoring conditions in the outlying areas," said a spokesperson for the Municipal Civil Protection Agency. "Our teams are coordinating with state and federal authorities to ensure that residents in vulnerable zones receive assistance." The National Meteorological Service had issued a moderate rainfall warning earlier in the day, but the intensity of the storm exceeded expectations. Meteorologists attributed the sudden surge to a tropical moisture plume interacting with local topography, a phenomenon that can lead to rapid rainfall accumulation in short periods. La Paz's infrastructure, while generally resilient, struggled to cope with the volume of water. Several drainage channels overflowed, and stormwater systems backed up, exacerbating the flooding. In some neighborhoods, power outages were reported as transformers short-circuited due to water exposure. City engineers were dispatched to assess damage to roads, bridges, and public utilities. Preliminary evaluations indicated that several intersections would require repairs, and cleanup crews began removing debris from key transit routes as soon as the rain subsided. Local authorities praised the community's response, noting that residents largely heeded warnings and avoided risky behavior. Emergency shelters were opened in anticipation of potential evacuations, though no mass displacements were reported by nightfall. "We're grateful for the cooperation of the public," said Mayor Quiroga. "Thanks to early alerts and responsible action, we've avoided serious injuries or fatalities so far." The city's emergency hotline received hundreds of calls throughout the day, ranging from reports of stranded vehicles to requests for medical assistance. Firefighters and police officers worked in tandem to rescue individuals trapped in flooded homes and vehicles. Meteorologists warned that additional rainfall could occur overnight and into Friday, with lingering moisture in the region. Residents were advised to remain vigilant and monitor official channels for updates. "We're not out of danger yet," said meteorologist Jorge Martinez of the Baja California Sur Weather Center. "The atmospheric conditions remain unstable, and further precipitation is possible." As night fell over La Paz, the city began to recover from the sudden shock of the flood. Streets remained slick and muddy, and the sound of water draining into the sea echoed through the Malecon. For many, the day served as a stark reminder of nature's power and the importance of preparedness. A powerful storm system unleashed torrential rains across Nuevo Leon on Thursday, triggering widespread flash floods that inundated urban centers, isolated rural communities, and brought daily life to a standstill. The state capital, Monterrey, bore the brunt of the deluge, with major highways submerged, public transportation halted, and emergency services stretched to their limits. The rainfall began in the early hours of the morning and intensified throughout the day, fueled by a stalled low-pressure system interacting with tropical moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. By mid-afternoon, the state's Civil Protection Agency had declared a red alert, urging residents to shelter in place and avoid travel. "This is one of the most intense rainfall events we've seen in recent years," said Governor Samuel Garcia in a televised address. "Our priority is to protect lives. We are coordinating with federal agencies, the military, and local governments to respond swiftly and effectively." Monterrey's bustling streets turned into rivers as stormwater overwhelmed drainage systems. Avenida Constitution, one of the city's main arteries, was completely submerged, with vehicles stranded and traffic diverted. The Santa Catarina River, which cuts through the city, surged dangerously close to its banks, prompting fears of overflow. Videos circulating on social media showed dramatic scenes. Cars floating down boulevards, pedestrians wading through waist-deep water, and emergency crews rescuing stranded commuters. In one widely shared clip, a city bus was seen partially submerged, with passengers climbing onto the roof to await rescue. "I've lived here for 30 years and never seen anything like this," said Maria Elena Torres, a resident of the Independencia neighborhood. "The water came so fast. We barely had time to move our things to higher ground." Power outages affected several districts, including San Pedro Garza Garcia and Guadalupe, as transformers short-circuited and electrical substations flooded. Schools and universities suspended classes, and many businesses closed early to allow employees to return home safely. Outside the metropolitan area, the situation was equally dire. In the mountainous regions of Santiago and Galena, landslides blocked access roads and isolated communities. Emergency crews deployed helicopters to deliver supplies and evacuate vulnerable residents. "We're dealing with multiple fronts," said a spokesperson for Protection Civil Nuevo Leon. "Urban flooding, rural isolation, and the risk of landslides in the Sierra Madre Oriental. It's a complex emergency." The municipality of Linares reported that several arroyos, normally dry streambeds, had turned into raging torrents, sweeping away livestock and damaging farmland. In Montemorelos, citrus groves were inundated, raising concerns about crop losses and economic impact. Nuevo Leon's infrastructure, though robust, struggled under the weight of the storm. Bridges were closed for inspection, culverts overflowed, and storm drains backed up across the state. The iconic Puente Adelantado in Monterrey was temporarily shut down due to structural concerns, though no damage was immediately reported. Governor Garcia announced the deployment of 1,200 personnel from the Mexican Army and National Guard to assist with evacuations, debris removal, and logistical support. Mobile water pumps and rescue boats were dispatched to critical zones, and temporary shelters were opened in schools and community centers. Authorities praised the public's response, noting that most residents complied with safety advisories and avoided risky behavior. The state's emergency hotline received over 3,000 calls in 24 hours, ranging from reports of stranded vehicles to requests for medical assistance. "We're grateful for the community's cooperation," said Governor Garcia. "Thanks to early warnings and responsible action, we've minimized casualties and ensured rapid response." No fatalities were reported as of Thursday evening, though several injuries occurred due to falls, vehicle accidents, and exposure. Hospitals remained operational, and medical teams were on standby for potential outbreaks of waterborne diseases. Meteorologists described the event as a perfect storm, combining tropical humidity, stalled atmospheric patterns, and orographic lift from the region's mountains. "This kind of rainfall overwhelms even well-prepared cities," said meteorologist Laura Castañeda. "Climate variability is increasing the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events. Urban planning must adapt." Experts warned that climate change may be amplifying such events and called for renewed investment in flood mitigation infrastructure, early warning systems, and community preparedness. The economic toll of the flood is expected to be significant. Initial estimates suggest millions of pesos in damage to public infrastructure, private property, and agricultural assets. Insurance claims are likely to surge, and recovery efforts may take weeks. Local businesses expressed concern about lost revenue, supply chain disruptions, and employee safety. Tourism, a growing sector in Nuevo Leon, was also affected, with hotel bookings canceled and outdoor attractions closed. "We were expecting a busy weekend," said Jorge Ramirez, manager of a boutique hotel in downtown Monterrey. "Now we're dealing with flooded rooms and stranded guests." Social media was flooded with messages of support, coordination, and gratitude. "This is Nuevo Leon," said Governor Garcia. "We face adversity together. We rebuild together."